Hello there, and welcome to the Power of Integrity podcast, where leadership aligns with principles. I am Ralph Adamo, your host, and I couldn't be more delighted to have today's guest, Fred Clare. Fred is a former executive vice president and general manager of Los Angeles Dodgers. He's been with the Dodgers organization for over 30 years. In fact, let me get this correct. Fred wrote two books. One is called My 30 Years in Dodger Blue, and the other was Extra Innings, highlights the City of Hope and its medical center, since Fred is a proud patient and survivor of cancer coming out of the City of Hope. Fred Clare, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Great to be with you.
Wonderful. Well, Fred, I'd love for our audience to know, since you have a star-studded background in history, can you share a little bit about your personal and professional journey so that folks know who Fred Clare is? Because you weren't out there on the mound throwing the ball. You were behind the scenes making those ball players better at what they were doing.
Well, my journey is now not concluding, but coming up on 9 full decades. I'm 89, will be 90 on October the 5th. So look forward to that celebration. And I mention that because when you talk about a journey, you talk about the length of the journey. And I have been very blessed. I grew up in a very small town in Ohio, Jamestown, Ohio, with a love for sports. And I loved the town was 1,500, so we didn't have football, but we had an emphasis on basketball and baseball, and I absolutely fell in love with both of those sports. And when my father and mother took our family to Crosley Field to see the Cincinnati Reds, and I first saw Crosley, I fell in love with the game. And so I knew that early on that I wanted somehow to be involved in sports. I didn't know whether I knew my athletic ability. I discovered early on wasn't going to take me very far, and it didn't get me past the junior college level. But I wanted to stay connected, and I thought it would be perhaps as a coach. And then I discovered along the way, due to good guidance, my fondness for writing, enjoying writing, and went into journalism to stay connected in writing about sports. So I started at the Whittier Daily News upon graduation from college in 1957. And I've kind of come a little bit full circle there because just last year, Whittier College was very kind and honored me with an honorary doctorate in humane letters at Whittier College, where I started my career in newspaper work. I had the opportunity then to go to the Pomona Progress Bulletin and then to the Long Beach Independent Press Telegram. That really launched my career into baseball because I covered the Angels in 1968. When there was an opening on the Dodger beat in 1969, I took that opportunity. And then in July of 1969, as it turned out, the same day that man walked on moon, I was offered the opportunity to become the publicity director of the Dodgers. And I went from publicity director to vice president of public relations and promotions to executive vice president and general manager to being fired by Fox in 1998. So that concluded my baseball career. But after my career in baseball ended, the one thing I wanted to do more than anything else was to give back and encourage young people. So I got involved in the academic world, and we started a class at USC, Sports Business and the Media in the Annenberg School. Also had a opportunity to start the Long Beach State Sports Management graduate program through a dear friend, Bill Schumart, who had hired in Dodger days. Had several other academic involvements. And then my last one was as the professor of the first sports class ever at Caltech. And after teaching that class, was awarded a an honorary alumni to Caltech, which is the only way that I could ever get into Caltech or be associated with Caltech. Have been very active in community affairs, particularly with the Rose Bowl, since Cheryl and I live in Pasadena. And then my life made a significant change when in 2016 I was struck by head and neck cancer, have undergone two significant operations where they removed the tumor. And then because my jaw, after 33 radiations, had disintegrated due to the radiations, they had to take the fibula from my left leg and replace my jawbone. So I remained a patient in the battle against cancer. The battle against cancer, one thing one has to realize, it never ends. And you never say you've defeated it because it's a very difficult opponent. You just battle every day if you have the blessing to be here every day. So one of the greatest blessings of my life has to be at City of Hope because through the book Extra Innings, Fred Clare's Journey to City of Hope, which was written by a wonderful man, Tim Madigan, all the net proceeds go to City of Hope. And I've been able to see the great work that this hospital does. And that has given me really the greatest satisfaction of my life in being able to have a small hand in recommending the City of Hope and seeing others be treated at City of Hope. And it's really been a true blessing. So that's my journey as we approach the 90 mark earlier or later this year.
Wonderful. Absolutely colorful, star-studded, and you're quite an individual standing up with that daily challenge of working through having cancer and what it takes every day. One of our other guests, a former guest on the podcast, was Annette Walker, the president and CEO of City of Hope Orange County. I don't know
Yes.
if you would have crossed paths or not, because you were probably in the City of Hope out in their original
Glory.
yeah. Yeah, and she was a delight. She's one of the few folks who on the podcast that literally said to the audience, if you have anyone in your family or you yourself are suffering, you call me on my cell phone, and provided a cell phone number for that direct access. That's the kind of people at City of Hope. So I understand your admiration for
Well, let me follow that lead. And for anyone with an interest in City of Hope or wants to explore a second opinion at City of Hope, my cell phone number is 818-517-4847. Call me, text me, and I will be happy, delighted, anxious to help you in any way that I can.
What a wonderful offer. Thank you, Fred. Maybe can you talk a little bit about the book and that journey? Now that we're into it, the Extra Innings book and the journey there, and
The and the author is a wonderful man who's we didn't know before he started the book. His name is Tim Madigan, and again, it's Extra Innings, Fred Clare's Journey to City Hope, and Finding the World Championship Team. You'll find many reviews on Amazon. When I was approached about the book, the one thing that really, I guess, think the origin is when I first went to City of Hope battling cancer in 2016. I walked into the Biller Center to see what books were there on the City of Hope. What was the most recent book? And I was told there isn't one. And I said, well, there needs to be one. And that started the process of working with City of Hope and Mascot Publishing Company. I said, this will not be a book about Fred Clare. That book is already on the shelf. That's 30 Years in Dodger Blue. But my wife Cheryl and I will be the vehicle to take you through the City of Hope, to talk about the doctors, to talk about the services, to talk about the other patients. Use us as the vehicle, and we will take you through because when I was diagnosed with head and neck cancer, a failed Mohs procedure on my lip, that where the doctor didn't get the margins and the cancer was headed up my jawbone, given a 20% chance of survival nearly 10 years ago. So I know the work of the City of Hope. So that was really the reasoning for the book. And the wonderful part is the reviews on uh, Amazon and others, where it talks about um, people's feelings about City of Hope in response to other patients. Entering City of Hope and I will be entering there again tomorrow on issues that we're dealing with, and again on Thursday. Entering City Hope is the closest thing I've ever felt to entering the Dodger clubhouse. And I'll tell you why. 30 years I entered the Dodger clubhouse. Many of those years responsible for the team that was in that clubhouse, or responsible in terms of my position, and obviously many others involved, many others. Um, we had a, a team, and we had a common opponent. That night's opponent. When I walk into City Hope, I recognize that I am part of a team, greatest team I've ever seen. Young people, old people, doctors, nurses, all the people battling in the most important battle of their lives, of our lives, saving lives. And so to be a part of that and to feel that and to see the courage, to see children or very elderly people battling with all of their heart and soul and might for the gift of life. It's the greatest experience of my life, and I've always been a competitive person, and you have to be competitive because you're fighting for your most prized possession, the possession of life.
Yes, but extremely touching to hear that, and thank you for bearing your soul in front of the camera and for our audience to hear. Um, you make quite a champion, both on the field in the clubhouse as well as in that hospital room where you really had the battle. Fred, I'm curious. I'm going to turn our attention to the topic of integrity. Can you share a moment where in the principle of integrity played a key role in your professional journey?
Well, I've thought a lot about the title, integrity. And before I share that moment or two, I want to mention, and I will talk later if time allows, about three people who come to my mind in my life and in my experiences who exemplified integrity. So, to understand integrity, you have to understand the people who represent integrity. And I have been blessed to know three of those people no longer with us, but forever in my heart and soul as dear friends. One is Vin Scully, the great Dodger announcer. One is John Wooden, the legendary UCLA coach. And one is Jackie Robinson. And I had the honor to know, to spend time, to see firsthand, and can cite examples of what these three people were all about. Because when you say integrity, those are three names. If you had a Mount Rushmore, I'd start with those three. Uh, I think that when I think of integrity, there are a lot of words that come to mind: uh, honesty, transparency, compassion, humanity, responsibility. All the wonderful thing about integrity is each and every one of us can achieve it. We don't need a college degree. We don't need anything other than our mind, our heart, and our soul to achieve integrity. Uh, I was blessed with wonderful parents. They taught me in a few simple words, not knowing what those words would mean, but as they played out in my life. Integrity, so wonderful to achieve, can be gained in simple words. Do the right thing. That's integrity. Most of us, if we're fortunate at all, know the difference between right and wrong. Do the right thing. And I suppose I've thought about it when you asked to set an example. I love every day I was with the Dodgers. I loved it with all my heart and soul and compassion, everything I possess. And in June of 1998, my Dodger career came to an end because I got a call from Bob Graziano, then the president of the Dodgers, saying, Fred, that there's a trade that needs to be announced tonight. He's telling me, the general manager of the team, that there's been a trade made. Not in the history of the Dodgers under the O'Malleys had that ever happened, now owned by Fox. And he said Mike Piazza, Todd Zeile have been traded to the Marlins for Gary Sheffield, Bobby Bonilla, and others. And I said, Bob, this is in an instant. There'll be two announcements made tonight. Because after I make the announcement of the trade, I'll announce my resignation. Because you don't need me, because this is not how you run a baseball team. And then I went back to my office, realizing that the world had changed for me, my career, and got a call from Derek Hall, now the president of the Arizona Diamondbacks, who was in our publicity department, saying, Fred, the trade can't be announced tonight. Sheffield has a no-trade contract. I said, of course he has a no-trade contract. Every general manager in baseball knows that. I assume the Fox people made the deal over getting television rights. This is not doing the right thing. This is the extreme opposite of doing the right thing. So I really didn't think 5 minutes or 10 minutes or even wonder the consequences. I knew at a moment in time that I had to make a decision. And I made the decision. As it turned out, because of the no trade contract, I stayed on to negotiate the finalization of the trade. And then on June the 21st, 1998, not that long ago, my daughter's birthday, and the day, sadly, that Al Campanis died. We were in Colorado. I received a phone call. Could I stop at Dodger Stadium on my way home? It never happened before in 30 years. Walked into the offices, told that I was being relieved of my duties as the general manager. Was told by others that Fox was very ticked off at me, pissed off actually, uh, because I had, when I announced the trade, I announced exactly what had happened, how that deal came down. And Fox, who said they would build a wall between baseball and their television business, had driven right through the wall into my life. And so now, 30 years gone by, what do you do? I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to give back and to help young people with an interest in the business of sports. I wanted other people to have the opportunity that I had to see that you can have a future in something that you love. And that started me on the journey to USC, Long Beach State, Caltech, and doing all that I could and continue to do today with those programs to assist in every way I can to encourage young people to be the best that you can be. Find your passion, find where you want to be, and work at it.
Yeah, I'm going to get to the short of it. Um, it's a wonderful conversation. I'm rarely on the edge of my seat listening, and today you've captivated me with what this conversation has been. Because you have that passion for young folks, can you share a little bit about, it's kind of off topic from integrity itself, but it's important for the young folks that are starting out, whether they're launching their own operations or they're working for someone else, they're starting their careers. What are some of those insights and tips you would share that you learned over the years that if you knew first, and maybe some of the things you did know early on? What are some of those insights for our younger folks listening in?
Well, I've shared a number of them recently because here's what happened. Last year, 2024, when Whittier College granted me an honorary doctorate, and my wife Cheryl and I went to Whittier College to accept. And this is Whittier College. And we were seated, and the students were in front of us, and in the stands, the football stands behind us, were the parents. And I could see that it was an audience of very much diversity. And my whole sense was that these were people who had really worked hard to be in college. Not that all people don't work hard. But I said something to the graduating class, and this will get to your point. When I spoke, I said to the graduating class, there were 207, any of you who want to meet with me, you can find me on LinkedIn. You reach out to me on LinkedIn and you can come to my office in Pasadena and I will help you with your career. I don't know how many graduation speakers have done that. I didn't know whether I would have 200 students show up, but I had about 20 or 25. And it gave me the opportunity. Many of these students were first time graduates in their family. And so the things that we talked about, and I would ask them about their background. And many said they were first time graduates in their family. I said, and for any young person, you have both an obligation and an opportunity. You have an obligation to your family, to your younger brothers and sisters, to your parents, to be the best that you can be and to help others and set an example for your family and for others. And the most important thing that you have, I would tell them, is your character, your integrity. Those don't ever lose those things because as a young person, and this is very dangerous, you can't get it back. Don't ever lose the most important thing that you have. And then I would ask them, they were 22, 23, and what really excited me and stunned me, What are you doing right now to help others? What are you involved with in helping others? Because you need to be today doing something to help other people. And actually, uh, one of the students from Whittier College gave me an autographed ball. I have it right there by a ball that was signed by Kirk Gibson. I place value on the Whittier College ball. So now, well, you know what happened this fall? Whittier College, at my encouragement, my advice, started a sports management program that was taught by a wonderful Orange County person, Tim Mead, former executive with the Angels and then president of the Hall of Fame. So now, Whittier College has a sports management program that will grow and be there for the future. So to the young people, my advice comes into several areas. They're basic. Be the best that you can be. The great people I knew were always trying to be the best that they could be. Take responsibility for what you do and never, ever lie, tell a truth, tell a mistruth about anything. And I want to tell you something else. How old are you? 22, 23. Time is moving quickly. You may think you do. You don't have time to waste. You need to do it now. In 10 years, you're 32. And in today's world, in 20 years, you're probably over the hill or fighting for a new job. Don't waste time. And I will go back to the three people I mentioned just briefly because I use this quote when I talk to them and show them this.
Jackie
This was
Robinson.
an event that I held to help the USC Marshall School. Jackie Robinson, I would say to any young person, if you want to remember one thing, this is what I tell them. If you forget everything else I say, remember this. A life is not important except in the impact it has on other lives. That's integrity. And Jackie, bless his heart, I'll give you an example. I first met him in 1962 at an old timers game at Dodger Stadium. And he was being his uniform number for the first time the Dodgers were retiring uniform numbers. The numbers of Jackie, Roy Campanella, and Sandy Koufax. So before the ceremony, I was standing next to Jackie and others to get ready for the ceremony. I guess I was VP of marketing, public relations, or whatever I was at that time. There was a fan in the stands with a ball. Jackie, sign this. Jackie. And the fan threw the ball, hit Jackie on the shoulder, came back, hit him on the head. Jackie's diabetes was so bad, his vision was so bad, he couldn't have caught that ball if you told him it was coming and it was a toss. Everyone around him went crazy. Get that guy. Throw him out of the stadium. Jackie said, calm down. Give me the ball. Give me a pen. Give it back to the gentleman. In the greatest turmoil that you could imagine, as he experienced all of his life, Jackie took control. That was June. October that year, the commissioner, Bowie Kuhn, invited Jackie to throw out the first ball. And he said, I will throw it out, Commissioner, if you give me the chance to speak. You can find it online, World Series in Cincinnati, where I saw my different stadium, but where I saw my first game uh, as a youngster at Crosley Field.
Yes.
Jackie's there to go out to give his talk, and approaching him as someone that everyone around Jackie recognizes that Jackie's vision couldn't pick him up. It was Pee Wee Reese. And they said, Jackie, it's Pee Wee. And they embraced. And Jackie went out to speak, and uh, he acknowledged Pee Wee, Branch Rickey, others, Pee Wee the captain, he said, and others. He said, baseball's made progress, but I will not be happy until I see a black man in the third base coaching box, meaning diversity. Jackie Robinson died 9 days later at the age of 52. And in his last days, with his health of one of the greatest athletes of our time, football, basketball, baseball, fought until his very last breath for diversity, for equal rights, for the rights of all people. That is integrity.
Yeah, and have an impact on your fellow man, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I've been here with Fred Clare, author, wonderful executive vice president, general manager of the LA Dodgers for 30 years. Fred, this has been a conversation like no other conversation I've had on my podcast. I'm just enamored with my guest today. You have shared already, as you know, we're rounding the corner here, getting to a wrap. You have shared already, but maybe you can reshare again. If anyone in the audience wants to reach out, what's the best way for them to do that before we wrap up?
Well, if you're battling cancer and you want to inquire about City of Hope, text me, 818-517-4847, or reach out to me on LinkedIn. And you can see many wonderful things about City of Hope on LinkedIn. And the only reason I'm on social media is very simple. I want to do all that I can to call attention to the City of Hope. So through LinkedIn, you will find me, and I will do whatever I can. No promises, because I'm not in a position to make a promise, only other than to give the best help that I can provide to you. So, and you can learn a lot about City of Hope in the book Extra Innings. All the net proceeds go to City of Hope to help continue to advance this great hospital. If you read it or do read it and care to write a review on Amazon, whatever your review may be, please do so, because that just simply calls attention to the wonderful people involved at City of Hope.
Fred, it's been a genuine pleasure. I really appreciate you, appreciate the time, and I know our audience appreciates all the wisdom you shared with them today. Really, really enjoyed today's conversation. Thank you so much, Fred Clare.
Great to be with you.
The information presented in this program is provided for informational purposes only. The information is believed to be reliable, but no guarantee of accuracy is made or implied. Expressions of opinions are as of this date and are subject to change without notice. The information in this material is not intended as tax or legal advice. Please consult a legal or tax professional. Investing involves risks, including possible loss of capital. Ralph Adamo is registered with the securities and are offered through Kovac Securities, Inc., member FINRA. SIPC, 6451 North Federal Highway, Suite 1201, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33308. Telephone number 954-782-4771. Investment advisory services are offered through Kovac Advisors Inc. Integrity Wealth Management is not affiliated with Kovac Securities Inc. or Kovac Advisors Inc.